The purpose of counseling in the workplace is to correct, mold, or improve job-related performance or behavior. Written counseling should be progressive in nature, as the organization imposes the least severe action necessary to correct undesirable behavior and moves to increasingly severe measures only if the problem is not corrected. With the exception of termination of employment, the primary objective of counseling is to modify the behavior, not to punish the team member. Ways to address rule violations include a verbal warning. The first type of counseling noted in the employee handbook and on the write-up form is verbal warning. Most formal counselings begin with a verbal warning depending on the severity of the offense. Although it is noted as verbal warning on the write-up form, we should still retrieve signatures from the counselor and the employee and place the signed document in the team member's personnel file. Once sent to Human Resources for file, a copy should also be provided to the team member. Written warning. A written warning is the next step of counseling outlined in the employee manual. Similar to the verbal warning, the offense should be clearly noted, and a plan to assist the employee in resolving the matter should be documented as well. Loss of privileges. Loss of privileges could mean that if an employee fails to adhere to CW's driver's policy by exceeding the speed limit detected on the GPS tracking system, that person may be subject to temporary revocation of driving abilities. This does not mean he or she are denied of performing other duties within their job description unless they are solely hired as a driver. Suspension. Suspension is a temporary relief of duties without pay. The length of time can differ depending if there's an investigation that follows the actions. All suspensions must receive approval from upper management and human resources. Leave of absence. Leave of absence should be granted if the behaviors displayed at the worksite are best resolved with the employee taking time off from work. If a program participant is having a behavior issue, perhaps connecting with external supports and approving a leave of absence is most suitable in order for he or she to reset and regain composure. Reassignment. Reassignment is a viable option if the employee is better matched in another role. If the employee is subject to a pay decrease as a result of this change, the reassignment requires approval from upper management and human resources to ensure these actions are not deemed retaliatory or discriminatory. Clear and consistent documentation is necessary in order to receive approval of the change. Reduction in hours. Reduction in hours means providing a modified work schedule. This can be in response to attendance issues. Changes in tiers must be considered before reducing work hours, as this may impact the employee's benefits. Before making schedule arrangements that reflect the lessening in hours, contact upper management and human resources. Demotion. Demotion is an option of corrective action when we've exhausted our support efforts in assisting team members in being successful in their roles. Before we take such adverse actions, HR must review the previous counselings for any warnings of the demotion. That means we cannot demote an employee without notifying them in writing with acknowledgement of receipt. Remedial training. Remedial training is designed to correct the behavior of a team member who has unsuccessfully performed their duties with the skill, knowledge, and/or ability expected or required of them, or have otherwise demonstrated a need for additional training. Remedial training is designed to close the gap between employee inadequacies and work-related expectations. And last, termination. Dismissal is the most severe form of discipline within any organization, and a strong case to do so for continued violations must be present. This action must have approval from human resources, upper management, and the site supervisor after an investigation to ensure fairness and consistent practices. Human Resources is responsible for ensuring final pay in accordance with state law, so it's vital that accurate, factual, and timely information is provided if termination is deemed the most suitable or sole option. As a reminder, when determining the type of counseling, keep in mind that it must be appropriate for the offense. Occasional poor performance or minor transgression is certainly actionable, but probably not cause for termination.